What's going on, guys? In this video I've selected 5 characters from Black Clover and we're going to examine what it would be like if they were born in the My Hero Academia universe instead. If you've watched both series, you'll know there's a massive difference in the power systems of Black Clover and My Hero Academia, so that means in this video there will be no spirits, no devils, and definitely no grimoires involved. If we can get this video to 5,000 likes, then I'll drop a part 2 with different characters from Black Clover as soon as humanly possible. Don't forget to sub for more anime crossovers like this, and remember, I do a live commentary of Black Clover and My Hero chapters every Sunday on Twitch. To start things off, we have the pro hero known as Blackout, aka Yami Sukihero. Yami is a 28-year-old pro hero who ranks 83rd on the charts, and his quirk is called Dark Matter. This power grants him the ability to generate darkness and manipulate it in various ways. At its most basic level, this quirk enables him to cancel out all light sources within a 200-meter radius, whether it be light bulbs, candles, phones, or anything else. If something generates light, then dark matter can stop it from doing so, making Yami a really useful hero when it comes to raids or stealth missions. He always carries a trusty katana as a support item, which he can then charge up with darkness that he generates from his body. This allows him to perform a wide variety of dark-powered slashes and thrusts, capable of tearing the fabric of space. He's also able to use darkness to restrain his enemies and maneuver himself around, which is not too dissimilar from another character in this universe. Yami also has a black hole technique, in which he generates enough dark matter to create an endless void that absorbs enemy attacks. This is the ultimate defense against long-range quirks and can protect Yami and his allies as attacks are immediately sucked into it. The only real weakness is that dark matter takes a while to generate compared to other emitter quirks, which can sometimes leave the hero in a vulnerable position. Moving on, we have Yuno, who is one of the top 3 students in Class 1A and has a level of natural talent that is just off the charts. Yuno's quirk is wind control, and it makes him virtually untouchable. Thanks to this power, he is constantly able to read the air currents around him, which lets Yuno sense any movement even when someone's not in his line of sight. This means he can visualize where people are, which gives him senses nearly on par with Hawks' detection skills. That said, Yuno's main ability is similar to that of Inasa from Shiketsu High, in that he can manipulate gusts of wind for his own purpose and generate tornadoes capable of wiping out a city block. Yuno surpasses Inasa in various ways. In particular, his speed and precision when it comes to wind control allows him to create things that are generally not seen in nature. This includes sharp bursts of wind that can pierce through an enemy like a sword, or concentrated blasts of wind that blow the enemy away, similar to air cannon. His wind control is also very handy for transportation, as he often flies through the air like a true superhero, or he carries along people for the ride, which is always useful in disaster situations. In all aspects, Yuno is a near perfect all-rounder, and he has no significant weaknesses other than his lack of experience at this point. Next up, we have the pro hero known as Dreamscape, but her real name is Dorothy Unsworth. She ranked 42nd place on the last hero charts and is part of a renowned hero team with Midnight. Dreamscape controls an infinite imaginary world in which literally anything she imagines is manifested. I know you may be thinking that you too have an imaginary world, but the difference is that Dorothy can actually send people's consciousnesses there and do anything to them with no physical consequences. Once someone is in the dream world, she can create anything living or non-living, whether it be monsters, people, giant furniture, whatever, you name it, she can make it. It should be stated that Dreamscape herself does not have to be asleep to enter the dream world, because it exists in her imagination, which she can obviously access while she's awake, just like anyone else. Her targets, however, do have to be asleep, and there are 3 main ways that she gets people to enter this world. Number 1 is that Midnight will put people to sleep, and then Dreamscape will activate her quirk once she's within a 10-meter range of the target. Option number 2 is that she can knock out her target completely, whether it be by a punch or some other kind of physical attack. Her final option is perhaps the longest, and basically she has to focus her eyes on the target whilst counting up to 50 sheep in her mind. This is not a technique that she often uses on the battlefield because it just takes way too long and it leaves her vulnerable because she can't divert her eyes away from the target. It does, however, come in useful when she's trying to extract information from people who are already restrained, including a certain vegetable. Last thing to mention on this character is that she can use her quirk on someone who just fell asleep naturally, although she considers this to be cheating and doesn't do it too often. Following on from this, we have the Silver Eagle, aka Nozel Silva. His quirk is called Liquid Metal, and it's arguably the most adaptable quirk of any hero. With this ability, he can generate vast amounts of mercury from his body and then manipulate it to help him in any situation. Nozel can harden his mercury at will, and so he often does this to create these near impenetrable shields while simultaneously attacking the enemy with spears or bullets. Because mercury is so dense, Nozel can wipe out hordes of enemies in one go with his silver rain, which builds momentum as it falls back down to earth. On the other hand, Nozel can target enemies more precisely with his silver shining spear, which is when a concentrated beam of mercury explodes from his hand and is then manipulated to cause maximum damage, even after the initial blow. His mastery and precision with this quirk is further demonstrated by how he can restrain enemies, either by trapping them in an intricate cage made from mercury, or by encasing their body in liquid metal and then hardening it. He is incredibly versatile, and essentially he is equivalent to a team of heroes just by himself. Last, but certainly not least, the final character is Asta from Class 1B, whose quirk origin is a bit of a mystery. The name of Asta's quirk is Black Mass, and it allows an otherworldly energy to flow through his body, which he can then use for various purposes, including erasing the quirks of others, enhancing his weapons, physical reinforcements, and flight. Being an expert swordsman, Asta often imbues Black Mass into whichever sword he's using at the time, with his preferred choice being this giant one right here. Starting with his main ability, Asta can temporarily nullify the quirk factor of any person he touches with Black Mass, with the exception being mutation quirks. Usually he erases quirks by whacking people with his sword, but he could just erase quirks with his hands if he wanted to. Once he makes contact, the victim's quirk is erased for 60 seconds, and Asta can't nullify their quirk any further until the original 60 seconds is over. Additionally, this power can negate any projectile attack. For example, he could slash through Minetta's balls, which would cause all of the balls to pop simultaneously, or he could take a swing at Endeavor's flames, which would stop the fire immediately. He can also manipulate this quirk to extend the reach of his sword without adding any weight to it, which is pretty convenient. Black Mass is also good for physical reinforcements, as Asta can activate his Black Asta mode. In this state, Asta temporarily becomes superhuman, with his mind entering a state of enhanced focus, and his body being capable of flight for a few minutes. He can only use this form for a couple times a day, and for about 5 minutes each time, so this is more of a trump card that he uses if he has no other choice. Even without this black form though, Asta has incredible perception of his surroundings, and is able to react to enemies with frightening precision. Overall, he has a ton of potential, and I am sure he must have whooped a few Class 1A students during the sports festival. And with that done, those are what these 5 characters from the Black Clover anime would be like if they were in My Hero Academia. Be sure to smash that like button, as I have a few more characters in mind that we should do if there's a part 2. And until the next one, peace out.